Good morning, everybody who's here on the East Coast. And for those of you joining us from all over the world, including Melbourne, Australia, I see. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Julie Roginski, your host, along with Michelle Kinney and Tara Setmayer. And this is today's Daily Dispatch. We wanted to talk, ladies, about what is happening with this assault on the First Amendment here in the United States. And there is no better example of that than a thin-skinned president who, flying back from England, took the time to say that people who criticize him on late night television should not be on late night television. I mean, he was that explicit about it. That was in the wake of Jimmy Kimmel's suspension, which is a polite way of saying that
he's fired.
Yeah, he was fired. They just didn't want him to be realistic yet. So they're dangling out there that he's going to come back. I just want to point one thing out before we start the discussion. Part of the reason that Disney did this is because Nexstar and Sinclair, two right-wing companies that own a lot of ABC affiliates all over the country, said that they would take Jimmy Kimmel off the air.
65 affiliates.
Yeah, which is the death knell for any show, because that's who sells advertising and that's how they make money. ABC, the national ABC, and Disney ultimately. Sinclair went further. So we're at a level in this country now where we're like a minute away from show trials, and I don't say that lightly, because it's not enough to cancel somebody and fire them for gently, and I mean gently, making fun of MAGA, which is what he did that day. Sinclair demanded that Jimmy Kimmel not just publicly apologize, but that he donate a significant amount of personal money to Turning Point USA, and I don't say this loosely, hate group that
Charlie 501c3. It was a 501c3.
Yes, and yes, a tax-exempt hate group.
Yeah.
And what I want to be very clear about is that they're basically forcing Jimmy Kimmel, if he wants to come back and do his show, to not just not talk about Trump, but use his personal money to effectively submit and say, I now support you both in word and in deed with what I'm doing.
That sounds like fascism to me.
Yep.
I mean, look, this whole situation is bigger than just a late night host losing his show, okay? And it's sorry, I'm over the flight
path. I know. It's like I hear
Michelle's got the sirens. I've got the flight path to Dulles. But it's so nice out I couldn't help but come outside.
No,
and also we might get to see our little hummingbirds who are preparing to leave us for the end of the season now.
I'll take what we can get, Tara.
And Hannah, they're buzzing around. Anyway, no, this is bigger than just a late night host getting fired, right? People are going like, well, who cares? Blah, blah, blah. No. This is a metaphor for all of us, okay? They are using Jimmy Kimmel and the late night hosts who have been a thorn in Trump's ass for years. He's been going after, he's been wanting to do this for them for years. It started with Colbert. Now it's Kimmel. He's already threatened openly to go after the rest of them.
The View?
That's right. Yeah. I mean, it's of course. Well, we also know that The View has also been a thorn in Trump's ass for a long time. And as soon as I saw that Disney, as soon as I saw that Disney did that, I said, oh, The View is next.
Yeah.
And there was a chyron on CNN last night that said The View is in the crosshairs. Of course it is. And yesterday they didn't talk about what happened to Jimmy Kimmel. Not one word. They actually aired a taped segment from the day before about Kash Patel as their opening. They did a happy birthday to Sarah Haynes. Then they went into a taped re-air of the segment from the day before, and then went on to having like Eugene Levy, who I love, and like, hot topics were basically all social, culture stuff, not politics.
And I flipped over to ABC last night, just really quick. I flipped over to ABC last night, just curious, because on the guide, it still said Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
And I clicked on, and they were playing Family Feud.
Right. Which was by design, because Trump said that he'd much rather have game shows and things on because, that's better than people criticizing him. And so what's happening to Kimmel should really, really be a wake-up moment for everyone in this country who is not MAGA. It's everyone. They don't want any of us to have a voice. They want to silence all criticism because Trump is a thin-skinned coward who can't stand criticism. This has been the case from day one. But now he's got the power and he has the people in power to do this. And he's doing it. He said he would do it. Brendan Carr, the FCC chairman, was an architect of Project 2025. He wrote the section in Project 2025 about the FCC, which is the watchdog agency that oversees all of the broadcast and radio and all of that, the Federal Communications Commission. So this guy is another one of these MAGA losers that finally has power, and he's using it. And we can't stand by and let this happen, which is why I think this is, again, an inflection point, a galvanizing point for a lot of people, that it's much, much bigger than Jimmy Kimmel. It's really not even about Kimmel specifically. It's about the idea of censorship, of going after anyone that criticizes Donald Trump or MAGA, and this whole lionizing, martyring of Charlie Kirk, who was an awful human being. No one said he deserved to die. Okay, that's a non-starter. We've already condemned this. That's a given. But we should absolutely be allowed to point out his legacy, what he actually said, what Turning Point USA has done, what they espouse, what they stand for, and the fact that they are getting away with whitewashing who Charlie Kirk was and what this organization, the damage this organization is doing to our democracy, and the indoctrination and propaganda bullshit that they're putting out there, the racism, the misogyny, all of that. I just sent you guys the story this morning. They want to use Charlie Kirk as a recruitment tool for the military. What? Join the military in honor of Charlie Kirk? Good
who never
served.
Who never served.
Correct. I mean, this is crazy. It's out of hand.
This is like some empty brain shit from people who are not thinking things through clearly. First of all, anybody who's been served in the military, Pete Hegseth, should know better what's required, not just physically but mentally, like the mental strength of having, to serve in the military and have that sort of discipline. I mean, it's, again, I'm looking at, the recruiting for ICE. Okay. It's like, apparently all you need to do is like have a head, have a head and some legs, I guess. And so
I need to send you guys the latest commercial. I screen recorded it the other day, and then
for ICE recruitment,
a new ICE recruitment video here in the DC area saying, if you are a local police, work for local police, you've already sworn to protect and serve. Why don't you step it up and come and bring that to ICE enforcement as a patriotic duty, your patriotic duty as someone who's sworn to protect and serve. And here's a $50,000 signing bonus, student loan forgiveness, blah, 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 making this. And they're showing all these pictures of HSI and ICE and all that arresting people. And I'm like, oh my God.
Right.
It's worse than it's similar to the one that was aired on the NFL the other, a couple of weeks ago that I sent you guys. But now it's targeting local police officers.
Well, of course,
to get them out of local and into ICE.
Local cops and village cops, like Tom Homan was in West Carthage, New York, which is like has a population of like 700 people, and that's where Tom Homan started his law enforcement career of a town of 700 people who had all white people, no black people, and then went off to work for the Border Patrol. And the thing is also, like, I just want to interject. Sorry. Someone in the comments said these ads are being booed at Citi Field in New York City during Mets games. Listen, maybe I'm a Mets fan now because
I know.
I'm like, kill me. Not that I don't like the Mets, but it's like I'm a Yankees fan, and it's been very, very upsetting. I know the three of us feel that way.
Yes. Well, my grandfather and my grandmother, rest in peace, will be very happy if I decide to go back to my original as a Mets fan, since I committed fan blasphemy in high school and switched to the Yankees, which was like no in my household, and we could never tell them. And my grandmother went to the grave not knowing, but my grandfather found out because my mom spilled the beans, and I told her, I think that's what put him in the grave. Damn it! I was like, "What did you do?" Telling him I'm a Yankee fan. What's wrong with you? So anyway,
so funny.
There are three things here that I think are important to know.
Yeah.
One, they are playing with fire. Because Democrats are not, I'm telling you right now, I've said it before, I tweeted it out. I feel even more, I went on CNN today and basically said it again. I feel even more strongly about this. I am not supporting any Democratic nominee. I mean, I will support whoever the Democratic nominee is, but I'm not supporting in a primary any candidate who does not want justice and accountability. No more of this.
Yep.
Got to go back to normal. Those days are over. We have to rebuild from the rubble that will be left of this country. But before we do that, and as we do that, we need accountability. So, my Republican friends, listen very carefully if any of you are tuning in, Twitter trolls. One day, I don't know when that day is, you will no longer be in power. And the Democrats will be back. It always happens. It may not be in 4 years because I don't believe that our elections are necessarily going to be fair for a while, but autocracy always falls.
Yep.
It always falls. Always. And unlike Generalissimo Francisco Franco, your guy's not young enough to spend 30 years doing it.
Right.
So sooner rather than later, Father Time will take care of this.
Yeah.
And a Democrat,
and it ain't going to be JD Vance, guys.
Yes. And a Democrat will be back in the White House. And that Democrat is going to appoint an FCC chair. And that FCC chair is going to go to Lachlan Murdoch and say to Lachlan Murdoch, nice station groups you've got there, Lachlan. But you know what? I don't think we're going to renew the licenses for them unless you get rid of Gutfeld over there at Fox News. We don't like his jokes. Yep. We want Kilmeade gone. He advocated the final solution to the homeless problem. Fox and Friends has got to go, or else your entire business model is going down the drain.
Just apply the Brendan Carr rule.
Of course.
Yeah. That Jimmy Kimmel said, inaccurate information about Charlie Kirk's killer. So as a result, he needed to go. It was either we could do it the easy way or the hard way with the not so well.
You know what? We're going to do the easiest way or the hard way with Fox News. It's going to be fairly easy because as somebody who used to work there, I can tell you 90% of what they say is inaccurate.
Correct. I mean, they got sued for defamation, for God's sake.
So you know what? We don't think, although you're not a broadcast network, we don't think you're in the public interest.
Right.
And good luck to you. Good luck to you. And what we're talking about here is a very bad precedent that we're setting.
Yep.
But if that's the precedent you want, MAGA, you got it. You got it.
Well, to your point, Julie, that's why there's a lot of people on the right who are coming out and basically saying that the ones that are still, I mean, I say this very loosely, the ones that are still somewhat intellectually honest about some of the positions that they've taken, constitutional positions, I can't even talk, they are warning about this. And I still follow some from it's left over from my days of being on the other side. So I still follow some folks like on Twitter and other places that were in that, on that side. And I've seen their posts, and it's one right after the other of the right-wing intelligentsia, basically warning about what Julie just said and acknowledging that, you know what, this is not a good idea. Free speech means free speech. And we can't go down this road. It's a slippery slope that will boomerang back on us. And they're right. And it shouldn't, right? It shouldn't be tit for tat here. But unfortunately,
it's gonna be.
That's what it requires.
It's going to be. So they learn their lesson.
Right. That's what it requires. You have to learn a lesson.
You never do it again. And the biggest mistake of the Biden years is that he did not teach them a lesson.
Yes.
I have two other
Merrick Garland.
I have two other quick observations to make. One, corporate media is dead, my friends. It is dead. We're watching the final death throes. Independent media. I know this sounds a little self-serving because that's what we're doing here, but I'm telling you, nobody can shut us up because nobody owns us. We're not trying to do synergies here where we have to worry about our corporate interest on the one hand and television on the other. We're just trying to create content that tells the truth.
Yep.
That's it. And it's not just us. That's what, look at Acosta. Acosta left CNN. He's staring straight into the camera every day and telling the truth. And Terry Moran,
Don Lemon,
all of them.
Yep. All of them. And there will be more. There will be more.
because when CNN gets
they're
taken
coming
over,
for CNN too, by the way.
they're coming for CNN, and I'm
Yeah,
telling
can
you,
we talk? I would love for you to just explain a little bit about that so people know just it's not just us yelling at them. There is actually some fact to this.
Well, I'll tell you this. You
were there this morning, right?
I was there this morning, which is why
I missed your hit. What time are you on, Jewel?
9.
Okay.
And said something about Chuck Schumer that probably will get me in trouble. But you know what? I don't care because I'm not owned by anybody.
No, and Chuck Schumer deserves it.
Yes,
absolutely.
Bad. Absolutely. Anyway, but I will also say this. They are about to be bought. Warner Brothers Discovery owns CNN. Warner Brothers Discovery, lock, stock, and barrel, is about to be bought by Sundance, which is owned by Larry and David Ellison, now the wealthiest people in the world, even richer than Elon Musk. And they are going to buy it for $30 million, which Larry Ellison made in one day on the market last week.
They're offering for these guys. Chump change.
So they're literally offering pretty much an all-cash offer for Warner Brothers Discovery, just to let you know what kind of wealth we're talking about. All-cash offer. And Warner Brothers Discovery, which has a fiduciary responsibility to its shareholders, will have to accept that offer. So it is only a matter of time until CNN is bought by Donald Trump's allies. And not just CNN, but Warner Brothers Studios and HBO. And good luck, HBO, producing content that's not in line with your leader. CNN, you're going to have the Scott Jennings show. Or as I said the other day, they're going to go to Fox and poach somebody much more talented than Scott Jennings to anchor their prime time.
Can I just interject really quick? Have you seen the videos of his podcast where he's wearing this giant headset? He looks like he's flying a helicopter because honestly, it kills me. Keep going. Sorry.
Yes, it's terrible. The Scott Jennings show. He has a radio show on Salem Communications, which by the way is also right-wing owned.
Right-wing owned. So the point is, somebody like Anderson Cooper is not going to stick around for that shit. He doesn't need it.
No.
Nor should he. I can't imagine Erin Burnett sticking around because
even if she wanted to, they're going to get rid of her. I said that on the chat this morning. I'm like, Anderson's going to retire. He doesn't really want to do this anymore anyway, and he's got plenty of money. He'll retire and raise his kids.
Yeah.
Erin Burnett's gone. Anyone who's black, like, you can forget it. Abby and Laura Coates, they're out of there. Jake Tapper will beg for his job and then he'll acquiesce. He'll bend the knee to keep it.
Oh, he already has.
Right. And Wolf Blitzer will retire.
Yeah.
And, it'll be the Scott Jennings will have a show. Sure, Michael will stay around, but.
Yeah. Well, it'll be the Fox, it'll be Fox Light, right? Yeah. They'll never be as good as Fox is because frankly, they don't know the formula. So they'll never be as good television as Fox. But they'll be Fox Light. And CBS, if you don't believe me, was already acquired by the Ellisons when Paramount was sold to Skydance. And CBS now has an ombudsman who is a MAGA guy, an ombudsman who was nominated to be the ambassador to Japan under Trump 1, never got confirmed. Huge mega donor to Republicans throughout his life.
Explain what the ombudsman's role is, because I don't think people know that aren't in media.
That's a good question, what the ombudsman's role is here, because typically an ombudsman makes sure that standards are abided by, that what you say is true. In this case, the ombudsman is going to make sure that CBS is in line with whatever Trump wants to be. So 60 Minutes, which is doing still the Lord's work, and I know the woman who has taken over for Bill Owens on CBS, she's actually a friend at 60 Minutes, excuse me. She is Tanya Simon, she is Bob Simon's daughter, but separate apart from that, just an incredible journalist. She will be doing the Lord's work there. I don't know how much longer they're going to be able to do what they have always done, because the truth seems to have a liberal bent these days. And that's a problem for the ombudsman, who is a MAGA guy. And that same ombudsman, whether it's going to be him or a different ombudsman, is going to be over CNN. MSNBC, which works for Comcast, which is owned by Comcast, which is now being spun off into something called Versant, only because NBC National does not want to be affiliated with MSNBC's liberal brand. They have already bent the knee by getting rid of Matthew Dowd for telling the truth.
Yep.
And, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. They got rid of Joy Reid. They got rid of Katie Fang. They got rid of actually a lot of women of color, and not just Joy Reid and Katie Fang. And, I'm very curious to see what's going to happen there. I don't think Maddow is going to shut up. but Maddow's only on once a week, and maybe they'll buy out her contract and say, thank you, Rachel, and you don't want to be here anyway. You want to be up in Massachusetts with your wife, and that's what she wants. Like, she's not, listen, Rachel Maddow's not going to stick around.
And she has enough money again, where if she wanted to continue to do what she's doing, she could go independent very easily and keep doing what she's doing.
Well, and she kind of is anyways. Like, she's doing the long form podcast, she's writing books, and she's kind of been doing that for a while anyways. And I have to say, like, for Rachel Maddow, like, sometimes, I mean, we talk for the A block of her show drives me a little bonkers. Yeah. But I think it's because she really thrives in those long form environments where she is kind of reporting in a NPR-ish kind of way. Yeah, like, and she's very smart, and I learn a lot from her, and I think that's would be great anyways. But yeah, anyways.
And she has a crack research team too.
Amazing. So
they're fantastic. Her team is really, really good at what they do.
Yeah.
So you guys, independent media is it. We hope you stick around with us. We're going to launch the Mayday Network in the next month or so officially. We hope you like and subscribe. This is really not about us. It's just to say that the good guys are over here now.
And all of us recognize the need for this. You know, like we were talking the other day, and for those who are just joining us, you're watching the Daily Dispatch brought to you by Mayday. And please like and subscribe and spread the word, because as other organizations, other groups, like our girl JoJo from Jurors has done the Siren, and they have their group of like younger influencers and, DNC, not DNC folks, non-DNC folks that are out here trying to spread the message and bring perspective. And, you have us with Mayday, and we're going to bring a different kind of look and feel to what we do, and we're all in this together. We are all in this together. There is no competition.
It really is.
There is, everyone brings their own secret sauce to what we do, and it's important that we kind of build this collective here of independent voices, because to Julie's point earlier, broadcast is dying. Cable news is dying. And not only are they dying, they were dying before, just because of the way people watch TV and what they do. It's people don't do appointment television really anymore. Streaming was taking over anyway, but now it's accelerating because Donald Trump is attacking free speech. He's using the powers and levers of government to literally silence critics. He said it, and he's doing it. Yes. So what we're doing now, we're a little bit ahead of the curve, honestly. It wasn't in reaction. We've been talking about this since he got reelected back in November. But that's why it's so important that you support all of us that are building these independent networks and voices, because we won't be silenced. And that's what they want.
But they are silencing us, Tara. And I'm going to use an example. I have not been, it's interesting. Abby Phillips' show just invited me on tonight. But
really?
But it's always on Fridays when Scott.
Yeah, they asked me. They asked me to do this show a couple weeks ago, and I said no, because I didn't want to go back after traveling. I didn't want to go back.
I'm not doing it.
I kind of regret it a little bit now because of what's happening. I'm like, shit, I wish I was on. But at the same time, I need a minute.
Yeah, I'm not doing it because I'm out of town.
Well, plus the Friday night show is kind of weird. I was like, I don't want to do this Food Network weird thing. Like, this is dumb, and I don't really want to do it on Friday.
But what's interesting is they refused to put me on with Scott Jennings, who was a big crybaby and complained.
Yeah, he's a big baby, and he needs his safe space so that he can
and because I tore him a new one, as Tara did the previous night. And lo and behold, we're not there anymore with him. He's on every night. We're no longer,
except Fridays.
Except Fridays, because he's not around on Fridays.
Right.
It's not a night that he does. It's not a coincidence, right? And it kind of cracks me up because there's no safe spaces here. There just aren't. I would invite Scott Jennings onto the Mayday Network any day of the week to tear him a new one.
Yep. Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with Charlie Kirk. Like people keep saying, and that's why over at Seneca, we put together, Michelle, God bless, to put the video together, this compilation of Charlie Kirk, and so that people could see him in his own words. You don't have to take us for, take our word for it. Just put it in his own words. And we use Scott Jennings and his sanctimonious, whiny bullshit about, he's mainstream. People call him a fascist and a racist and a misogynist, but he's not. He's mainstream. And, he was just a college debater that was pro-free speech. And I'm sorry. That's bullshit, okay? He wasn't just some conservative college debater who believed in free speech. It was way more sinister.
Oh, absolutely. And it was never
Way
in
more.
good faith. And I mean, listen, you got to give it to Charlie Kirk. He was very crafty in the way that he presented that he was doing something in good faith, and he wasn't. And he was going to college campuses to argue with a bunch of children almost. I mean, teenagers and young and people who are probably between the age of 18 and 21,
Right.
whose brains are not fully developed, who are not coming to the table, you know, with a decade of political experience like he is.
Right.
Where,
The power dynamic was not on equal footing. And
no, and there
anytime
was
you
no
put Charlie
moderator.
Kirk,
There
right.
was no
Anytime you put
moderator.
Charlie Kirk on equal footing to debate, he got his ass handed to him. Like when he went to Oxford and all that, because you know, not all college students are dumb, right? I mean, there are some very smart college students, but you just also don't have the same life experience. You just don't.
And also, just debating is a skill, anyways. That not everybody is able to be, you know, a linguist on the spot. It's a skill that is developed, or you just are kind of inherently born with it. And
that's right.
And Charlie Kirk went to college for like 2 seconds, looked around, and said, "I know better than all these people," and dropped out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then spent the rest of his life
monetizing hate. That is what
monetizing hatred.
Monetized hate. And for a man who went and told a bunch of college young women that they should get their MRS degrees because their looks were going to go the older they got, and your heyday physically, according to Charlie Kirk, in your 20s. I am here to tell you as a woman, just not true. I think I looked much better in my 40s than I looked in my 20s.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm 50.
Yeah,
I'm 50, folks.
I'm 52. I can't say I look as good as I looked when I was 42, but I look better at 42 than I did at 22. But that's neither here nor there.
I could admittedly say I look better at 50 than I did at 40.
Yeah, I could say that I looked much. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. The point is, he basically insulted women by saying that, hey, you guys, the only reason men really are into you is because you're hot, and you stop. And you get progressively less hot the older you get. So
which I'm like, okay, then my husband is like, if I'm going to get progressively less hot into
my husband's going to dump me for a 25-year-old.
Correct.
Which a lot of them do. I mean, a lot on that, you know, a lot of men do that, especially on that side, that have that mentality, unfortunately. But you're reinforcing the mentality that a woman's worth is only her fertility and her looks when she's in her 20s.
And it's okay, right? That's what he's basically reinforcing. It's okay for your husband to dump you for a 22-year-old because you're just not that hot by the time you get to be in your 30s or 40s or 50s or older.
He literally said this. We're not making this up.
We're not making it up.
He literally said that, on top of saying that birth control messes with women's brains.
So what's interesting is his wife, I guess, got her MRS degree. I don't know where they met, but married him.
The former Miss Arizona.
Miss Arizona USA, not Miss America, but the USA, which was owned by Donald Trump.
Yeah. So former Miss Arizona, God bless her. I've never won a beauty pageant, so I'm sure it's not an easy, I've never tried, but I'm sure it's not an easy thing to do. So good for her. But she, I think, was raising her kids as she was mandated to do by Charlie Kirk. That's her role, to get married.
Biblically, don't forget, Julie, biblically, according to Charlie Kirk, that's the proper role of women. Submit to your husbands and birth your children and don't work and raise them.
Well, but now Mrs. Kirk has taken over Turning Point USA.
Yeah, she was elected by the board to be the new CEO.
I'm sure she was.
Yeah.
Who's raising the kids, Mrs. Kirk?
Right. This is the Phyllis Schlafly hypocrisy, right? It's like, stay at home. Women don't need rights. But by the way, I'm going to go get my law degree and I'm going to tour the country telling women that they need to stay at home while I don't.
Yeah.
And that's the hypocrisy.
And there's nothing wrong with people who choose to do that. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom and that's what you want to do, God bless. Go do that. But it's don't come out here and lecture those of us. Don't lecture those of us who choose not to live our lives that way, as we're somehow lesser women.
Yep. And it's about having the choice to do either one and having the acceptance of that choice. It's a twofold, you know, and that's the thing. Is like, you know, and also being a stay-at-home mom, having that valued as an actual career choice that should be paid. Because it is work and it's 24/7 work. And it's usually, I mean, it's just not valued by society. At least our society doesn't. And that's the thing is like, again, put these women in a corner I mean, I could go on all day about this, but it's like, it makes me really, really angry.
Well, I'm going to tell you this as mom. I have like 15 balls I'm juggling in the air. You know, we're launching May Day soon. I have my job that, you know, I have to do in order to earn a living. I have my Substack, which obviously writing a column every day, it's about 1,500 words, takes a lot of time. Like I have Lift Our Voices, which is my nonprofit. Right. So, which is a full-time job effectively. So I have a lot of stuff going on. I'm going to be a full-time mom, and I'm going to tell you,
boy, that is a full-time.
The hardest job that I have, bar none, is being a mom. It's the most rewarding, but it is by far the hardest. Like the rest of it is gravy. That's the hardest. So I don't ever want to demean anybody who chooses to stay home and raise their kids, because to be honest, that is a luxury that a lot of women wish they had.
Yeah, that's true too.
And luxury is not the word, because I'm not going to pretend you sit around eating bonbons. It's that if you can afford to do that, good for you. And my hats off to you that if you could afford to do that,
it's a privilege. I mean, for sure.
Well, but not for a lot of women. A lot of women.
I know, it's like depends on how you look at it and who you are.
Can't afford to pay for daycare, so they have no choice but to get out of the workforce because they make less money than they would putting their kids into daycare. However, I would go insane personally if that's all I did, especially when my son was a baby, especially when he was, you know, a toddler. It's just mind numbing to be home with a baby all day long. So
because they can't talk back.
So well, maybe that's a good thing. Nature, but the reason I say all this is I don't begrudge her for staying home.
Of course.
What I begrudge is that now that there's an opportunity to monetize, she's going back not just to work, she's running an entire movement. And
they raised like $15 million or some shit since last week.
Yeah. And well, we got Turning Point USA, they've got the nonprofit, they've got the C4, I think, they've got all the conferences.
Turning Point Action. I think they
have international, they have Turning Point UK, like there's a bunch of offshoots. Look, good for him. I'm super actually envious that he was able to build that kind of movement, and Democrats should have looked at what he was doing and tried to emulate, but we never did because we just thought college professors are going to take care of it for us. Bullshit.
The college professors that Charlie Kirk put on a hit list. He called the professors hit list, which is one of the first things he did back.
Yeah, there is an actual website that still exists.
Correct.
Yeah. And I guess what I'm trying to say here is
Nazi shit is what that is. And I mean, and here's the other thing. If you don't want to be called fascist and you don't want to be compared to Nazis, stop acting like them. Stop acting like them, and no one will say that. It's funny how you get called things that you are, and then you don't like it. Hold a mirror up to yourself and do some shadow work.
And I was on with Pete Seat today on CNN, who I don't know, Tara, you might know. Pete's a nice guy. He's the former spokesperson, I think, for the Republican Party in Indiana.
Yeah.
Good. You know, I've only had nice interactions with him, but he's
not a MAGA prick.
Like he's not a MAGA prick. He's not.
He goes along to get along, but not a.
Yeah, he goes along to get along.
Rabid MAGA.
He goes along to get along, but he's not a sellout.
Don't you feel though, like people that are still participating in the apparatus of the party though, are just
I'm not
1,000%. Yeah. I'm just backing up Julie's character. Like he's not a Jennings or like a Ben Ferguson. You know what I mean? He's one of those. And to your point, Michelle, people like him
are the reason this is happening.
That's right, because they could have banded together and stopped, because there were a lot more Pete Seats out there than there were, you know, the Ben Fergusons, but they got steamrolled and decided to make a decision to go along to get along, and that's why we're here. You know why I always go after the enablers and say they're worse.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So all I'm saying is that he went on, and I didn't have they cut the segment before I could respond to it, but he was like, well, I don't know, you know, I mean, yes, Jimmy Kimmel got fired, but don't forget ABC has a habit of doing this. I mean, they got rid of Roseanne when she said what she said, and Disney got rid of Roseanne, and the woman from The Mandalorian, whose name escapes me because she was, you know, MAGA.
Gina Carano.
Yeah, they got rid of her. And I'm like, what I would have said is, that's the market reacting. I don't care if Bob Iger, the chairman of Disney, woke up and said, you know what? I think Jimmy Kimmel sucks and I don't want him here.
That would be very different.
That's a business decision. That is a business decision.
And also, Roseanne was literally baking cookies. Like, I mean, do you remember that whole thing where she dressed up like a Nazi and was like baking cookies in her oven?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
or no, not sorry, Roseanne. Sorry. Oh my
Roseanne.
God.
Oh,
Roseanne. Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know what I said, but I meant Roseanne. And that was part of the reason they took her out of the show. And then it became about her sister or whatever. Not that I was watching it, but yeah.
Right.
Crazy.
But to Julie's point, that was a business decision, not being
Exactly.
pressured by the federal government to do it or else. There's a huge difference that they keep ignoring.
Barack Obama didn't call Bob Iger and was like, "Hey, can you get rid of the show?"
Tara,
for me?
I gotta ask you a question, because you used to be, you spent your life as a Republican before all this. So I gotta make an observation that I hope you could weigh in on. When I was back in the olden days, when I was growing up, the Republican Party was the party of capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
And the party of the free market, the party of no government intervention,
Mm-hmm.
the party of a muscular foreign policy. And, there are people who remain in office who are Republicans, like Scott Jennings' former boss, Mitch McConnell, right? Like Chuck Grassley,
Mm-hmm.
like Lindsey Graham. I mean, I can keep naming them, right? Most of the Senate, most of like Susan Collins, like Lisa Murkowski, all of these people who were around in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s and the early 2010s. All of these people subscribe to that. That is, if you ask them, that's why they were Republicans. And, I don't agree with a lot of what they stood for.
But it was something, and they stood for it.
But they were very clear about what they stood for. You stood for that, Tara, and I respect that. And my question is, what the hell is going on? Because government intervention, my God, what is more interventionist than what is happening right now? What is less capitalistic than the government deciding for a private corporation? What is less capitalistic than the government taking a 10% stake in the largest
that's
in the world?
very communist.
That's socialism, my friends.
Yes, there are elements of all the isms that Republicans railed against for decades. Yeah. For decades. There's elements of socialism, communism, fascism. And then, of course, there's the racism, misogyny, and all that.
Right.
But we'll take that, cast that aside for right now. But no, you're 100% correct, which is why I quit the party. I said, you guys don't believe in anything. You're hypocrites.
Power.
By supporting Donald Trump, you
Yeah.
are hypocrites. You are becoming everything you claim to despise. And it's only gotten worse since then. Because I naively thought that principle would be more important than party.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wait a minute, the principles of conservatism, the principles of republicanism are completely antithetical to what Donald Trump represents in every way. From foreign policy, from, the trade, economics, decency, all the things, going after the military, going after, I have to go through the list. And I could not believe that the people that you just named, who were the standard bearers.
The tip of the spear, Tara. Not just the tip of the spear.
The tip of the spear, standard bearers of republicanism that from like Reagan years, right on up, that claim to be, what happened to compassionate conservatism of the Bushes? What happened to the, points of light? What happened to
I remember that.
Like Shining City on the Hill.
Right. I mean, what happened to that?
Wait. I'm just thinking, I think it was Colbert last night. Oh, I think it was Colbert. They played this clip of Reagan. It was like, Mr. Gorbachev, cancel the Golden Girls.
Oh my God. I mean, look.
It's so ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous, but scary as hell, because it would be different if it was just notional. But it's not anymore. It's like we are literally playing out an authoritarian nightmare, complete opposite of what every Ronald Reagan speech about the Shining City on a Hill, about freedom, what we preached in the 80s to Gorbachev and to the Soviet bloc about what they shouldn't be doing, and the difference and the principles that made America the superpower and envy of the world. Donald Trump and the Republican Party have destroyed that. They have become what they claimed to despise.
Yes.
And has been the most heartbreaking and infuriating part of this for me as someone who dedicated the majority of her adult life to putting forward and in practice those principles that I believed in, that I thought were American patriotic principles. We just had a difference on the policy and how
marginal tax rates. That's what we
I use it as the example all the time. Can we please go back to arguing about marginal tax rates?
Right.
Because that was like the difference. We weren't arguing about punishing our political enemies and using the IRS and the
or
tax
like, are black people human? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Or
this
should
is
women
kind of
be,
like, do black women have the same mental capacity as white people?
Right.
Like
right?
that,
Moronic black women who don't have the mental capacity is what Charlie Kirk said.
Charlie Kirk's direct quote. But I will also say this, and I think this is actually something to think about. You went from shining city on the hill to, which was a clarion call for a lot of young Republicans, and a lot of Republicans generally, and a lot of people who were debating what kind of party they wanted to join. And when Ronald Reagan said that, I think it was a clarion call for a lot of people, not for people like me, but it was for a lot of other people.
There's a reason why he won 48 seats in 1988, or I mean, George actually won 1980 in 1989.
84, 49 states.
Right, 84, and then Bush in 89, carrying on the Reagan.
Yeah. So right. You went from that to I am your vengeance. And that is the
I am your retribution.
I am your retribution. If you want to know what the clarion call is and the appeal is now, it is a party of grievance. It is not a party of values. It is not a party of ideology. It is not a party of vision. It is a party of grievance embodied in Donald Trump saying, I am your retribution.
Yep. And
it's against all of us. Antifa is all of us, because anybody who stands against fascism and authoritarianism, which is all of us who don't subscribe to MAGA and don't want to bend the knee, we are Antifa. That is how they're going to characterize us, and they're going to come after us.
The whole cemetery in Normandy, full of over 9,000 departed souls who stormed the beaches on January 6, 1944, are all Antifa. So, like, you know what? Quite frankly, we're in good company. And I want to pull this up.
And that's who Trump has designated. That idea is what Trump has designated a major terrorist organization. He has classified the now we don't subscribe to any of the Antifa things where they were like, going firebombing.
No. I want to be very clear about this. I want to be clear about this. It's not that we don't
anarchist.
Whatever Antifa stands for. Antifa doesn't exist.
Right. It's not a organized thing.
There are a bunch of disparate people, not desperate, maybe they're desperate too, but disparate people who have organized themselves into communists and anarchists and socialists and other ists, right? And some of them, which is okay, their prerogative, and some of them carry a flag when they protest and do other things that actually where they go overboard and get engaged in like rioting and violence, where they carry a flag that anti-fascists in the 1930s carried in Germany. Okay. They are not organized. There's no 501c3 like there is in USA called Antifa. There's no 501c4. There's no LLC. There's no corporation.
There's no leadership. There's no like a leader of the Antifa movement. It doesn't exist.
Right. And for them to continue to say Antifa and not say anti-fascist, there's a reason for that, because people know what fascist means, and to be anti-fascist, well, that would make sense. Who wouldn't be? And to the point of people who have seen the light with the Republicans and the party of grievance, and like how everybody, especially in Trump world, is out for themselves. I just want to play like a minute of Adam Kinzinger talking about Robert Carr, right? That's his name. Brendan, sorry, I don't know where I got Robert from.
He's one of our loyal watchers. We're not sorry, Robert, not you.
Oh my God, sorry, Robert. That's why. My bad,
Robert. We love you, and I hope you're having a great day in Camden Town today.
I'm so sorry. Anyways, here's just a minute of this because I actually think it's valuable. We should fear these people in the fact that they're doing dangerous things, but these are not serious people.
Official to pull the broadcast license of ABC. And he sent a emoji from The Office where they're celebrating. The chairman of the FCC, instead of a statement, sends a emoji from The Office. This is a joke of a government, by the way. This is a joke of an FCC. I know Brendan Carr. He's the biggest dork you'll ever meet, who is absolutely desperate for people's approval and desperate for fame, which is why he's doing what he's doing, because he's making MAGA and Donald Trump happy. So he's using the position of government. He's using his perch in government to try to build his own fame. Now, we as Americans have to push back against this, guys, because if the government even threatens to go after our First Amendment right and companies obey because they have to worry about their bottom line, then we may as well not have a First Amendment because we are being silenced.
Yeah. So, this is where it's like, again, Tara having a unique experience being a Republican, knowing a lot of these people prior, knowing who they are. Same with Adam Kinzinger, same with our friend Denver Riggleman, who can speak to who these people are, because none of us know who these people. Who knows Brendan Carr? Nobody knows who that is. We only know him now as the scary guy who's going, you can do it the easy way or the hard way. But like, then when you look at it through this lens of this like loser dork who's just been given this position because he's nice to Donald Trump, who's just desperate. I mean, and Joy Reid had this like 4 or 5 minute video monologue that she did on her own channel talking about how these people are so desperate for our acceptance of their worldview and what they want. And so we cannot give an inch, not in the comment section, not in our lives, not when it comes to policy or legislation, not when it comes to the media that we consume or that we pay for and subscribe to. We cannot give an inch. Do not engage. Do not engage.
I'm going to practice, as I have been recently all the time. I don't know why, Michelle, you know this. Every time we do a show, I say this. I'm going to practice psychiatry without a license right now.
We all do.
To the point where we should do a segment called Julie Practice Psychiatry.
I'm on therapy TikTok. I watch a lot of videos.
Yeah. Never even took a Psych 101 class in college, but I'm going to practice psychiatry without a license. All of these people have fucking, sorry, daddy issues. Every single one. I don't know. I mean, I would dearly love to just for somebody to do a survey of the top 100 people in the Trump administration and what their home life was like. And I'm not suggesting that people who have a difficult home life, because I know a lot of us did, are like this, other than to say they need daddy's approval. It is crazy how thirsty they are. And that is basically what I said that got me booted off of Abby's show with Scott Jennings, because I said that about him. But the reality is they are all thirsty for approval. They need
daddy.
They need daddy. They need daddy.
This is why there was merch that said daddy's home with his face on it. And they were selling it. Like, oh my God.
Yes. Like they have embraced this. I've said this for years.
Trump has daddy issues, and now all of them have daddy issues with Trump.
All of them. I've said this for years. I've said that Donald Trump and Elon Musk have daddy issues and JD Vance has mommy issues. And because they are maladjusted adults that never got therapy for their childhood trauma, we, the American people and the rest of the world now, are paying the price for their untreated childhood trauma issues with their mommies and daddies. And we're watching it play out. And and this is the bottom line of it all. Donald Trump's father was a bastard, and so was who didn't love his son, who thought his son was a reject and a loser, which is why Donald Trump is so obsessed with losers and not being one. His mom couldn't be bothered with him either, so he never got love from his mommy either, which is why he hates women. Elon Musk's father was a Nazi bastard who said that he was not proud of his son and looked at him as a failure, despite the fact that Elon Musk was the richest man in the world, or however you feel about him. Pretty successful. I think most dads would probably be, proud of their son doing what Elon, or at least impressed or give him credit for it. But no, he actually said this. He also named his son after a Nazi scientist's science fiction novel
about somebody colonizing Mars,
right? Called the
which is why he's obsessed with Mars and where's it? It's all rockets. About daddy.
Exactly. I mean, it's not hard to diagnose what motivates these people. And same thing with Peter Thiel. All of these people, there is a through line here of unhealthy, dysfunctional relationships with their daddies. So, I mean, but here we are, though. Here we are. That's what motivates them.
And speaking of people with mommy and daddy issues, Tucker Carlson got the mommy issues, right?
Yes.
Got the big mommy issues. But I will say, and this is a glimmer of hope. Now, I don't know what the bottom line here is. I don't know what the motivation is here, but in addition to the Wall Street Journal editorial board putting out their statement this morning, basically saying like the right has been the victims of the cancel culture, blah, 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 blah. But then they say
with the Rupert Murdoch owned Wall Street Journal.
Yes. And they say because of that is the reason why everyone should be against what's happening right now. So they have to like do the victim thing in order to be like, see how bad this is. You can't do this. But Tucker Carlson went on his podcast and said this.
Hope that Charlie Kirk's death won't be used by a group we now call bad actors to create a society that was the opposite of the one he worked to build. You hope that. You hope that a year from now, the turmoil we're seeing in the aftermath of his murder won't be leveraged to bring hate speech laws to this country. And trust me, if that does happen, there is never a more justified moment for civil disobedience than that, ever. And there never will be. Because if they can tell you what to say, they're telling you what to think. There is nothing they can't do to you because they don't consider you human. They don't believe you have a soul. A human being with a soul, a free man, has a right to say what he believes, not to hurt other people, but to express his views.
And here I am sharing a video of Tucker Carlson unironically.
What is it? A broken clock is right twice a day.
Yep.
I mean, he's not wrong because he knows, given all the bullshit he spewed over the years, that they would come for him. It's self-serving. It's self-serving in some respect for some of these people, but doesn't change the basic principle of what he's saying being correct. He's right. He's right. Well, I think that as we wrap up this hour, do you want to? I think we should play out, unless final words, but then we should play out the hour with the Charlie Kirk video.
I had a quick clip here from W. Kimmel Bell, right? Who's on
Kimmel Bell. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
About all of this that I think is also good to put into perspective.
Is like
for people who
not
don't
as
know,
privileged as Jimmy Kimmel, but
they don't know who he is. W. Kimmel Bell is a comedian. He used to be a contributor for CNN. He would do like documentaries and things and on race and culture and society. I don't know if they still employ him or not. He's also a spokesman for the ACLU. So he's a big free speech guy.
There's a lot of ads. People probably see him in the ACLU ads.
So I just wanted to give context so they understand where he's coming from. And this is at the Atlantic Festival, which is happening this week. And that's where David Letterman had some things to say and some other big heavy hitters. So it's a good, the Atlantic Festival had a good week for them to.
Yeah, it was good timing, I guess, on their part.
Owned by a woman, by the way.
not somebody who could be rounded up by ICE. We're being encouraged to just sort of like, it'll be fine. We're being encouraged to just put our heads down and just sort of hope that like they won't keep squeezing that but eventually that's how it always works. They keep squeezing it until they get to the rest of us. And so I think this is right now, it's weird to think of like Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert as like the canaries in the coal mine. But if they're telling us we're not afraid of rich white men, mm-hmm. what can the rest of us do? Mm-hmm. What can we expect them to treat the rest of us if we say the wrong thing on social media or if we make the wrong joke in front of the wrong person? How can we expect that we're going to get through the day every day and be able to live our lives the way we want to if they're not afraid of going after the rich white guys? We define it.
And when he said that, when I saw that come up on my feed, I was like, that is such a great point. If they are not afraid of the rich white men, late night has been dominated 100% for an exception of Arsenio Hall.
Yep.
Has been dominated by white guys named mostly Jimmy or Johnny or something like that.
Right.
There's a reason for that.
It's Samantha B, but she was not on.
It was like on a cable thing. I'm talking about like Maine, ABC, CBS, NBC.
Yep.
And for the history of television, that has been the case.
We did have one Conan. We had a Conan.
We had a Conan for like 2 seconds.
Yeah. But you're right.
He was at the 12:30 slot. He was there for many years. I was actually a big fan of his. Still am. But regardless, I mean, he's a Harvard-educated Irish white guy. I mean, there's a reason. It's because the United States of America, when they go to bed at night, want to hear from a white man, and that's just how it is. And whether or not that would change, the broadcast networks never wanted to push the envelope to change hearts and minds. But these are rich white guys with a lot of power and a lot of influence over the American public. And it has been that case for about 60 something years. And so for the rich people and the oligarchs and the powers that be to go after these folks, the rest of us are just sitting ducks.
Yeah. Unless we coalesce,
correct,
and come together, because we the people still have a voice. Okay, we the people still have a voice. We need to remember that. That's why the protests that, like, No Kings is doing another protest in October. You know, we have to collectively come together so that the American people understand that this is still our country. They only get away with this if we let them. Which is why we're, you know, doing what we're doing. This is why May Day exists. This is why we're doing these daily dispatches and doing all these things. It's why what we do over at Seneca is what we're doing, why Julie does what she does. That's why we're all doing this. So guys, please like and subscribe to Mayday Network.
Yeah, somebody was asking in the chat, is this a regular show? So the Daily Dispatch is in response to, it's like our rapid response at Mayday. It's our opportunity to jump on, have these lives, discuss, you know, what's going on in the news or something that you know needs
warrants reaction.
Warrants a reaction. And so that's why it's so important to like and subscribe to the Mayday Network on YouTube, because then you'll get the notification that we're going to go live. I usually will schedule these out as far as I can. Sometimes it's only like 15 minutes. So you'll be the first to know if you, you know, get that little bell, you'll get an email or a little, you know, ping on your YouTube app.
Breaking news. I have been reported to Charlie Kirk's estate, according to Twitter.
What?
Wait, what?
I went on CNN today and said that Jimmy Kimmel got fired because Donald Trump intervened, and apparently I have now been reported to Charlie Kirk's estate.
Oh, you mean you've been reported to? Like they've
Well, they're coming up with a list of an enemies list, and apparently I'm now on it. You have now been reported to Charlie's estate.
Who said that?
According to something called Media Lies, which tracks all of this and compiles the list.
I mean, it's funny, but it's not, because they're compiling an enemies list like they did with the professors list, so they can harass and come out and try to intimidate and bully and people like us.
And dox.
Right. That's right. So this is bullshit.
Welcome, Twitter trolls. Good to see you here. I assume some of you probably will now find out exactly who I am, and I welcome you. And I hope you like and subscribe to the Mayday Network too. You might learn something. So
yeah, you might. Well, in that case,
get like a Google alert about it. How did you find that out just now? Did someone text you?
You were tagged or text?
I was tagged. Did you want my number? Yeah.
Well, here we go. Well, this is going to piss him off even more. Michelle, I think you should close the show out with our in his own words, Charlie Kirk.
In his own words. This is who Charlie Kirk was, everybody.
Yes, and just so everybody knows, we put this out from the Seneca Project, which is the super PAC that Tara and I co-founded and we run. This on Instagram alone has over 500,000 views, thousands of comments, and which is honestly, it has me shocked, because usually videos on Instagram that are over 3 minutes don't get a lot of traction. So for something that is 6 minutes long to be making this kind of headway on the internet, it's kind of crazy.
And the talented Michelle Kinney did this by herself this is how talented Michelle is. Just take a look and you'll see what I'm talking about. Bye, everybody, but stick around and watch this video.
Yes.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
See the project if you want to see more of it, because we depend on you guys too as well. So they're coming for all of us. We're all targets. So we appreciate those who have supported us, and we appreciate more support if you can do it. So thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.
One more thing that's on my mind tonight, and conservatives everywhere, the idea that people are saying, well, he was an extremist, or he was a racist, or he was a Nazi, or a misogynist, whatever. Charlie Kirk was a mainstream conservative Republican. He had views that are held by tens of millions of people, including more than half the country in the last election.
If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. It begs the question, when you see a black pilot, you wonder, you say, I hope they are qualified. And in the spirit of affirmative action, we have Ramon and Cadillac are your two pilots. They've never flown before, but they are black.
If I'm dealing with somebody in customer service
who's a moronic black woman? Is she there because of her excellence, or is she there because of affirmative action? I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously.
The war on white people continues.
You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously.
We are raising a generation of weak people like Simone Biles.
LeBron James is a self-interested, narcissistic, and we know he's not very smart.
You're representing your nation. You're selfish sociopath.
Not very bright, not wise, not somebody of good character.
She is a shame to the country.
Blacks in America did not have the same rights they had today. Data shows they were actually better in the 1940s.
Let's get loud for Kyle Rittenhouse. I'm also going to offer some context and some nuance about the death of George Floyd that no one dares to say out loud, which is that this guy was a scumbag.
Remember what BLM stands for? Burn, loot, and murder.
Now, does that mean it deserves to die? That's two totally different things. Of course not.
Prowling blacks go around for fun to go target white people. That's a fact.
There's no such thing as white privilege or racism, so.
Black people are allowed to talk about black culture in a way that white culture cannot. Black people can go up and say that there's a baby mama problem in black America, and white people are not allowed to say that. Oh, I just did. So what are you gonna do, cancel me? Black people are allowed to say, I'm
a grown man, I got way
black
too much
people
to
are allowed. Skin color now gets their own summertime celebration. Oh wow, look how far blacks have come. It has now become a racial complaining day. Thomas Sowell and Justice Clarence Thomas are far better black role models to celebrate than Martin Luther King. This guy is not worthy of a national holiday.
There's a mythology around MLK that does not warrant the reverence that he gets treated with in America.
We have a federal holiday to a guy that talked about race all the time. Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. We celebrate the Civil Rights Act more than the American founding. The country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. The Democrats are not lifting a finger to remember the well over 100 people that have died in Texas Hill Country. The death toll likely would not have been as high if it wasn't for DEI.
Ketanji Brown Jackson is what your country looks like on critical race theory.
You're gonna remove my appendix and you're a black lesbian.
Ketanji Brown Jackson is an embodiment of the tyranny that we currently live under. She's an ideological, unintelligent, yet confident fanatic.
Why does Kirk believe passing the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? Now, again, apparently they don't listen to the show because we do that at least once a week, right?
So she wants to be the first ever black woman on the Supreme Court, yet she won't even admit that she's a woman.
The transgender movement is an introductory phase. These doctors need to be put in prison to get you to strip yourself of your humanity. A Nuremberg-style trial to mesh with machines. Interestingly, I think there is an argument to bring back the MRS degree.
Reject feminism.
Young women need to get married at a younger age and start having kids. I'm studying sociology. No, you're not. We know why you're here.
Submit to your husband, Taylor. You're not in charge.
You will find a husband if you have the intent to find a husband.
You got to change your name. If not, you don't really mean it.
Democrat women want to die alone without children.
A lot of them are on birth control too, and birth control really screws up female brains, by the way.
That's really rich. I didn't know women not to complain 50 years ago. That's funny. We should tell them to stop freezing their eggs and start finding their partner earlier and have lots of babies.
Every single one of you need to make sure that your loved ones are not on birth control.
So materially insane to think that 1 in 5 American women will be raped in their life.
It is. I agree.
No, meaning that they're lying about being raped.
You're comparing abortion to the Holocaust.
Absolutely, I am. In fact, it's worse. It's worse. Because Jewish donors have been the #1 funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies. By the way, this is my other problem with death penalty. It takes too long, too many appeals.
Expensive.
It should be public. It should be quick. It should be televised. Well, at what age should you start to see public execution?
16. I think you could do it earlier. I think you maybe at age 12.
I want to watch that execution. That'll make my day better. A lot. I mean, Joe Biden is a bumbling, dementia-filled, Alzheimer's, corrupt tyrant who should honestly be put in prison and or given the death penalty for his crimes against America.
The Democrat Party believes everything that God hates.
We're dealing with maggots, vermin, and swine here. These are not good people. They're not even a little bit good. In fact, I know people that went to Haiti passively as agnostic atheists, and they came back searching for Jesus because they saw legit demonic activity. Kamala Harris wants to see the elimination of the United States of America.
Democrat Party supports everything that God hates. There's not much you can do, folks. You have a government that hates you. You have a traitor as a president. Buy weapons. I keep on saying that.
As top Republicans reject any link between GOP rhetoric and Paul Pelosi assault. If some amazing patriot out there in San Francisco wants to really be a midterm hero, someone should go and bail this guy out. Native-born Americans, you better buy weapons, everybody. Have a lot of guns at your disposal. I would never leave your home without a weapon. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights.
We actually need looser gun laws because I think that
gun laws.
Oh yeah. They said we have more guns at the Turning Point HQ than you could imagine. Yeah, if anyone ever tries to come, that will not end well. Oh no, imagine the world without Joy Reid. Imagine the world without Sheila Jackson Lee or Michelle Obama or Ketanji Brown Jackson.
I am channeling the emotions of millions of conservatives who are angry. They knew Charlie, they loved Charlie, they viewed Charlie as a mainstream conservative Republican.